Kate. Welcome to Co-Parenting with Narcissist 101. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Guys, today's topic is a covert narcissist using fear to control the children. Covert narcissist using fear to control the children. Now, living with a covert narcissist, they prefer you to be on pins and needles. They prefer you to walk on eggshells. They prefer you not to know whether you're coming or going, whether they're coming or going. All for the purpose of you, keeping them in your as your main point, and whatever with everything. They're the ones that you're looking up to see what is going on now, how you're going to prevent this and this from happening, or how can you control this and this that already happened. So either way, they have you running around anxious, trying to put out fires. The focus is on them all the time. So now co-parenting with the covert narcissist, you see they try to do this with the children, where now they use fear. In my situation before, I found out what was happening, was at some point, covert narcissist told the kid that it is a requirement for them to call him once every day, not him calling. They have to call him once a day. And of course, the kids were a little bit younger then, and before I found out that was what was happening, every time they'll be, anxious or panicking, my daughter especially, like, I don't want to talk right now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't want to talk to him right now. I said, okay, you don't have to. Do you want to tell him something? Because I didn't hear the phone ring. Only for me to realize then that, like, oh, but yeah, I haven't called him today. I was supposed to call him today. I said, what? So she's panicking. She's being anxious. I don't want to talk to him. I don't feel like talking right now. I said, well, then you don't need to talk right now, But that's when I realized that he told them, it was a requirement, not him calling them, that they are supposed to call him every day. Of course, I had to now retrace back and counter this, because if you don't feel like talking to him, then you don't talk to him. You talk to him when you feel like talking to him. It's not a requirement. The parent is, if you want to find out how you're doing, he calls and find out how you're doing. It is not your job, to make sure that he's okay, because now you called him. But this is what the covert narcissist would do. They make the kids anxious. They're using fear, and because I had to tell the kids, like, okay, so what do you think will happen? Like, you didn't call. Oh, when we go over there, he's gonna yell and do this and do that and do that. I say, okay, what does he normally do all the time though? And they're looking at me and say, what does he normally do every day? Oh, he's yelling and screaming. I say, see, you get the same result, because it doesn't matter. It does not matter what happens. He wants to yell, he yells. He feels the need to scream, he screams. That's all he does. It does not matter. So you calling him to make him not to yell is not going to happen, because he will yell if he wants to. He just needs to find a reason to do that, and he will do that. It is not your job, neither are you required to call him. Unless you have something that you need to tell him, then you call him and tell him. But you are not required to call him every day, And of course, from that point forward, my kids, they don't really, if they want to talk to him, they talk to him. But sometimes when he calls, they don't feel like talking, they don't answer the phone. It just happen like that. But this is how the covert narcissist try to make the kids anxious, because now they start programming the children to pretty much put them in their focus. You're consumed with trying to stop things from happening, much like you. Watch them to watch their mood, their reaction, to stop, whatever it is they're going to do to make them happy, to prevent things. But of course, for you, now that you found out, you realize nothing can prevent anything with the covert narcissist. They just pick and choose. This is their way to make sure that you are constantly running around like a hamster in a wheel with no end in sight. So now that you know that, watching them now interact with the children you're trying to co-parent, when they're away from you or to come to visit you, is something that you have to put a stop to, because they will start doing that. That's exactly what they'll start doing. This is how it starts. With now there's rules, in quote, of what you should be doing, which is to call me every day, even though I don't call you, even though I don't call to check in on you. But it's your job to call me, because if you don't, there's going to be some screaming, there's going to be some yelling. But then when you remind the kids, like, there's always screaming and yelling. That's just how this person does things. They scream and yell regardless, because all they need to do is find a reason to do that, and they will do that. Like my children, hopefully the yours get it too, because they finally they're like, yeah, that's what he does all the time. I say, that's exactly what happens, whether you call or don't call. So you do not displease yourself to please him, because it does not matter. If he wants to yell, he will yell. So you need to nip that in the bud and not have your kids be anxious about this person, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to be constantly unstable, constantly wondering, constantly in fear. That's exactly what they want to do. All right, guys, get a hold of your mind, and everything's fall into place. Please like and share. Take care.